Okay, what's the most extreme flight you can possibly imagine? And I'm not talking about just getting a little extra legroom. No, we are going to explore the entire spectrum, from a flight that costs less than a cup of coffee to one that could literally buy you a house. So let's dive in and see just how wild air travel can get. And this right here, this says it all. On one side, you have a $1 plane that's so rickety, its engine sounds like a lawnmower. Seriously. And on the other, a private jet that costs $500,000. It's basically a mansion with wings. So how on earth do you go from one to the other? Well, let's find out. All right, first things first, we're going to start in the world most of us know, commercial airlines. But we're not staying in coach. We're going to climb the luxury ladder, starting from the very, very bottom rung and going all the way to the top. And when I say the bottom, I mean it. Our journey starts at just $1. For that single dollar, you get a seat on what has to be the world's cheapest plane. The experience was, well, nerve-wracking is probably the kindest word for it. I mean, this quote just captures the feeling perfectly, doesn't it? At this price point, you're not thinking about comfort. You're just desperately hoping the thing stays in the air. This is rock bottom, for sure. So from here, the only way to go is up. Way, way up. So let's make our first big jump. We're going from $1 to $1,000 for a first-class ticket. We've gone from the price of a pack of gum to the price of a new laptop. And as you can probably guess, the difference is pretty much night and day. So what does $1,000 get you? Well, you get your own little personal space. You've got a private seat, your own TV, and this is key for long flights, a lie flat bed. They even throw in some toiletries and pajamas. But here's the catch. You're still on a commercial plane. People are walking by your seat the whole time. It's definitely comfortable, but it's not exactly private. Okay, you ready for another huge leap? We are multiplying the price by 10. We're now at the $10,000 private suite. Now, technically, it's still on a commercial plane, but honestly, it feels like you're on a completely different planet. So what does a five-figure ticket actually buy you? Well, the legroom is basically infinite. You get a massive TV, your own personal drink bar right in your seat, and you can order all the fancy gourmet food you want. But the real game changer, the one thing that just seems impossible, is an actual working shower. You can take a hot shower while flying 30,000 feet above the earth. That's just insane. So, where do we go from there? This is the absolute peak of commercial air travel, a $25,000 ticket. It is the most expensive commercial flight in the entire world. But the big question is, can it really be worth 2.5 times more than the suite that already has a shower? And this is where we see something called the law of diminishing returns in action. For 25 grand, your space is literally 4 times bigger. You get 2 huge rooms and even a queen-sized bed. But, and trust me, this is a big but, some of the most important features just don't stack up. And there you have it. That's the verdict. The bathroom, even with that insane price tag, is actually smaller and it has no shower. So think about that. You're paying an extra $15,000 for more room, but you lose one of the coolest perks. It's proof that more expensive doesn't always mean better. Okay, so we've officially hit the ceiling of what commercial travel can offer. To go any higher up the ladder, we have to leave it behind and step into the world of private aviation. And this is where the rules totally change, because you're not just buying a seat anymore, you're chartering the whole plane. Our entry fee into this brand new world is a cool $100,000. For that price, a high-end private jet and its entire crew is all yours for the trip. So what does 100 grand really get you? Well, for starters, the plane is yours. This one had 4 different rooms, including a lounge area and a private bedroom. But the real luxury, the thing you're actually paying for, is freedom. No TSA lines, no layovers, no schedules that aren't your own. You are in total control. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It's all about that total control, being free from all the normal headaches of travel. The pilot takes off when you say so, you fly direct, and you can even do some pretty strange things. And speaking of strange, get ready for a really bizarre detour. Let's forget about jets for a second. What if you took $300,000 and instead of a plane, you chartered a blimp? And what if you used it to send a very, very public message? Yep, you're seeing that right. The entire massive blimp was wrapped with the message, "I heart Carl's mom," and then flown over a NASCAR race in front of 150,000 people. It's completely absurd, it's hilarious, and it's the kind of thing you can only do when you have that kind of money and freedom in the sky. All right, we've seen luxury, we've seen freedom, and we have definitely seen absurdity, but we still haven't reached the top. Now, it's time. We have arrived at the absolute, undisputed pinnacle of air travel. $500,000, $500,000 for a single flight. This is what it costs to charter the world's most expensive private jet. Just let that number sink in for a second. Look, this thing isn't a plane, it's a flying mansion. By square footage, it is actually bigger than the average American house. It's got multiple private bedrooms, bathrooms with gold-plated sinks and showers, a dedicated movie theater, a huge living room, and even onboard massage services. It's a 5-star hotel that just happens to be moving at 500 miles an hour. And to really share the insanity of it all, a few subscribers were actually invited on board. This quote from one of them just says it all. The scale of it, the luxury, it's so far beyond anything you can imagine that it's just genuinely shocking to see in person. But here's what's really amazing. That $500,000 price wasn't just for the flight. The journey ended with a huge surprise, a 2-day, all-expenses-paid trip to Disney World for every single person on the plane. It turns out the ultimate luxury wasn't just the plane itself, but sharing the whole experience. So, what a trip. We went from a $1 plane that sounded like a lawnmower all the way to a $500,000 flying palace. We've seen how money can buy you comfort, then privacy, then total freedom, and finally, a level of opulence that is almost impossible to comprehend. And that journey brings us to this final question. Remember how that $25,000 flight was actually a worse value than the $10,000 one? It really makes you wonder, when it comes to luxury like this, is there a point where you stop paying for a genuinely better experience and you start paying just for the sake of a bigger price tag? Definitely something to think about next time you're booking a flight.